Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Today is Seeking Sustainability Live number 79, and we have Nick Szasz here representing Kyushu and all the wonderful things about Kyushu. Nick, you've been running Fukuoka Now for many years. Thank you so much for joining.
My pleasure. Nice to see you. I feel that I know you so well, but we've never actually met,
That's right.
so
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah, wonderful. Would you mind starting by just a brief introduction of yourself?
Hmm, sure. Okay. Well, I'm from Canada, from Toronto, Canada, and I've lived in Japan. Wow, long time it seems. I'm losing track, but about 34 years. A couple of years in Tokyo, 1 year in Osaka, and at least 30 years down here in Kyushu, in Fukuoka.
Yeah, wonderful. And behind you is such a beautiful photo. You're such
Mm,
a great photographer. We're going to show so many beautiful photos that you've taken, which you use on your map magazine and your website and videos.
yes.
Can you describe where is that gorgeous
Sure. Well,
place?
this is actually very close to where I am now, and it's called Keia, a town called Keia, and it's in Itoshima, Fukuoka Prefecture. It's about 28 kilometers, only 28 kilometers from downtown Fukuoka, and so that's like 40 minutes in a car. It's just beautiful, and there's actually there's some caves. You can't really see in this photo well that clear there, but anyway, it's just a beautiful area. Itoshima is a peninsula. So it's avoided having, truck lines or train lines coming through it. So it's an area with lots of agriculture and great beaches. So this is where it's surf points and cafes and things like that. Anyways, it's where I live, and it's a great part of Fukuoka.
You know what I just realized, Nick? I think this is my desktop picture on my Mac.
No,
Could
it
that
looks
be?
like it, doesn't
I'm
it?
showing
No, it
my
isn't.
my desktop right
No,
now.
I know it looks that way. This is
Oh
almost
my
like
gosh,
it's a
yeah.
super coincidence, isn't it? That's somewhere in California, I think.
Is
I have that
it?
on my Mac too.
It looks
Well, in case,
identical, doesn't
doesn't
it?
it? Doesn't it?
Wow.
It looks really identical, doesn't it? Yeah. But no, it's
Okay.
different. This is in
Okay.
Fukuoka.
Okay,
This
okay,
is a
okay. So that's a point of reference too. It looks like your
yeah,
desktop saver picture. Now, Nick, you've been a tourism ambassador for Itoshima.
for Itoshima. That's right. Yeah.
I've
That's
got a
one of
picture
the.
here of
I mean, that
you.
just comes naturally. I talk about Itoshima so much, what a great place it is to live and visit, mostly to live. And so the local government asked me to be an ambassador, and that just means helping them in promoting the area. The area doesn't need any help in promotion, though. People from all over the country, Japanese, non-Japanese, are discovering Itoshima because, as I say, it's so close to Fukuoka City, yet it's got such beautiful nature and well, just like Fukuoka City has, advantages of having low cost of living and all kinds of great creature comforts and cultural assets. So in a way, I mean, it's a great place. We don't want everyone to come here though, but it's a beautiful place.
Stagger. Let's stagger people as they come. You're
Yeah.
also a Cool Japan ambassador, it looks like.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I think that's out of recognition. As I said, I didn't introduce myself fully, but my main identity is the publisher of Fukuoka Now magazine, which started in 1998 December. First issue was actually in the January of 99, but whatever. It's been running for what's that, like 21 years or so, and it's a monthly sort of what's on printed magazine for the Fukuoka Kyushu area. It started in English and Japanese, and then we added some languages along the way. Actually, at one point it was a seven language. We had a Portuguese page, a Spanish page, a Chinese, Korean. I mean, we had, yeah, at one point, pre-internet, it was, 70 pages thick, and it was sort of like, what's on in Fukuoka for people who can't read kanji. That's what the kanji buster. It was information for people who can't read. Yeah. So, anyways, it's a long history. 22 years of publishing that magazine. It's evolved. It started out as something for, as I say, well, primarily local expats like myself who lived in Fukuoka but couldn't navigate it. didn't know where to go, what's on. So that was the main impetus. But Fukuoka, 22 years ago, very few foreigners actually living here, and no one visiting here. There's just no inbound at all. So it was done on a business basis, of course. That was how I earned my living. So we actually started it as a bilingual publication right from the beginning because I knew it couldn't go just as an English publication. So our secondary market was what we call koksaijin, Japanese locals who are interested in foreign travel, imported foods, goods, languages, foreigners. So this is pre-internet and printed media coming out only once a month. It really sort of filled a need, a niche here especially in Fukuoka, where there wasn't that much international information. So again, that's how we started, was as an expat sort of what's on magazine plus the Japanese market or readers, and then having those people together through the magazine and of course with the website. Then we got into the event business as well too. We would produce events every second month or so, and we'd have 300, 400, 500, 800, I think 1,200 at one time at these events. So we also did that sort of offline or real mixing or communication, getting community together. So we've done a lot of things in 22 years.
Yeah, my husband and I started Get Hiroshima in Hiroshima, and we really respect the work that you guys have done, and you've actually done so much more than we have in terms of developing it as a full-time job. I think both of us have always had jobs on the side as well. So it's so inspiring for us and anybody else at a destination which they want to be the bridge between the local Japanese community, what's happening, the news, events, classifieds, and the international community. Like you said, it's often a language problem, but it's often just a know-how link as well, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm showing your team now in the photo. Okay. Can you tell us about your team for Fukuoka Now?
That's actually that's about a year and a half ago. I just had a photo that's from a set of slides that I have. That's not the current team now, but as you see, we have, I think in that slide there, we have a Dutchman and a woman from the Philippines who both of them worked with us. And then I think there's one from Taiwan in there as well, too, if you're looking at the same photo that I'm thinking of. But we have a multinational team, and these are people that are in our office, but we also use a lot of outsourced staff. So for either translation or, writing, reporting, whatever it is. So yeah, it's a multinational effort.
Great. You're also a chairman, you said, of FIBA. Can you introduce that?
Yeah, that's sort of definitely a side project, not related directly to Fukuoka, but similarly in Fukuoka, it's an international city, I suppose, or it certainly has become more and more so. But even 15 years ago or so, there was a need for sort of a networking group or facility. So under the encouragement of local government, actually the former governor, we created something called FIBA, Fukuoka International Business Association. What it is a city like Fukuoka is not large enough to support a chamber, like a British Chamber of Commerce or a Canadian Chamber or an American. So what we did is we made sort of a multinational, unofficial sort of Chamber of Commerce. And so what we do is we have meetings, real meetings, face-to-face meeting 4 times a year, and people come together, and it's sort of members come together, and it's real-to-real networking. We produce a newsletter every month that has business topics in English, and so on and so forth. And once a year, we actually have the meeting at the governor's official residence. So there's a bit of a chance to network or communicate with local officials,
government,
which is
That's wonderful. And I see in the picture from your July event, you've got Rochelle Kopp, who, of course, was in the Seeking Sustainability series as well. She's a real insider for business, international, intercultural communication. So it's nice to see her
professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a real asset professional. Just recently come to Fukuoka. So this is a lot of people, it seems, or Fukuoka's definitely developing in many ways. And one is we're getting I guess people are discovering what a livable place it is, or as people say, and myself included, it's a quality of life that one can have in Fukuoka. And where that comes from is the actual size of the city it's compact. We have a population of about 1.5 million. I don't know what the area is, but it's not, you know, it's not too hilly. It's just everything. It's just right. ちょうどいい. 何でもちょうどいい大きさな. So it's got that going for it too, and it's the hub of Kyushu. It's at the top of Kyushu, and so a lot of the highways go through it. Of course, is where the big airport is. Uh, some of the government agencies and so forth are located here. So it's a hub in many ways. But then beyond that, it also enjoys a lower cost of living. The hinterland is so close. Is good farms and so forth. Just the cost of living is different from some of the larger Japanese cities like Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, and yeah, there's just a number of factors which, one other thing is in the city itself, transportation, public transportation is quite good. And as I said, it's quite flat. It's easy to cycle through. People's commute time is actually very short, again, compared to Tokyo or Osaka. And as I said, cost of living is lower. So what do you have? You have people spending less time commuting, so they have more free time. And then cost of living's lower. And if the wages are fairly similar to Tokyo, and it depends what your job is, you have more pocket money, you have more spending money, you have more time, and that equals quality of life or opportunity for a good quality of life. So I think that's one of the things that people discover about Fukuoka is it's a great place. If you find a job, if you find a good job you like, it's a great environment to live.
Yeah, for sure. And I think especially now, post-COVID, post-coronavirus,
Mm-mm.
people will be thinking more about places where they can have a balance of beautiful outdoor areas, commuting where it's not too crowded. There's a
Mm.
lot of things about Fukuoka as the main city of the south that has a big
Mm-mm-mm.
advantage over some of the maybe overpopulated, more crowded cities
Mm.
around
Mm.
Japan. So wonderful. Let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about your history because you've been doing
Okay.
it for a long time. On the screen right now, I've
Mhm.
got a picture you sent me from 22 years, the first issue, and the
Mhm. Ah,
256th issue of Fukuoka
right,
Now. So
right.
impressive. Well done.
Yeah, yeah. If you go onto issue.com, or if the people watching later, you can see we have every single issue. That's 256 issues to date. They're all available as PDFs on issue.com, I think it's called.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's been a long ride. We started, as you see, two colors, and that's actually one paper like folded into that B5 size, a B5 A5 size. So yeah, it's evolved a lot. It's evolved a lot.
Yeah.
It's been a long road.
Beautiful. What's the most challenging part about doing a publication? Is it every
Mm.
month? Is it monthly?
Yes, it's monthly. I should say, we're on hold now because of COVID-19. But yes, we published every month for 256 months. Every month. So yeah, I guess that's a challenge. But once you're in it, it's your life, and it's better than being a newspaper and having to do it every day. I mean, once a month is reasonable, I think. But still, yes, it was always a challenge there. But the real challenge, I think, is the business side of it. And for me, this was not a hobby. I wanted to make it my business or my job. And then we employ staff and outsource staff, as I said. So we want to do this on a business base to be independent and so forth. So we back then it was the advertisement based free paper model. So yeah, we are dependent on advertising. So getting the trust of Japanese owned businesses on a regular basis to not only advertise but actually to let us report or to involve us in things in the city and community. That took a little while, but not that long. I mean, I guess I was careful. I wasn't new to Japan. It wasn't my first job in Japan, and so forth. So I sort of knew what needed to be done, and I'm one of those like love Japan types, and very much into the community. And I sort of knew where their sensitivities are, and I made it my business to earn the trust of not only local businesses but the local community and stakeholders, whatever you call it, people. And I think that's how we were able to continue so long.
And it's a free magazine, right? And I have a picture
Yep.
here of the distribution. So how did you distribute? Was it tourism offices?
Not so much tourism offices. The main thing would be by volume now would be hotels.
Mm-hmm.
So certainly in Fukuoka, until COVID anyways, 130 hotels, there would be copies of it. Tourist information desks, certain, well, restaurants and bars and cafes. Obviously, our advertisers would have it. Uh, yeah, that's how it is now. Yeah, like it could be before with schools as well too, certain places. But we had hundreds of distribution. Distribution again, that's another key thing. If you make something but people don't see it or hear it, whatever it is, what's the point? So we from a very early time on, 20 years ago, we nurtured or did a good job in getting people to distribute our media.
That's great. And then you did a map as well. Was that separate from the
Yeah,
magazine
that's
or?
separate. I mean,
Uh-huh.
again, the magazine it had, okay, it was what, where, when, Fukuoka Now. And what I mean by what is we'd introduce things like, it could be restaurants or whatever it is, or something. It's what, and where we had a map inside the magazine so people could use it. Again, pre-internet people before Google maps and all that, they would actually look at a paper map. And then what, where, when, we had a calendar, event calendar. Those are three of the key contents of the magazine from the very beginning, from 1998. So those things always stayed in what, where, when, and as at Fukuoka Now. So people would know if they're in Fukuoka what they could do. Now the map is a different business. The map started in 2009, and the map is published twice a year. And that is squarely aimed at inbound tourism. So why 2009? In 2009 was the first time that large cruise ships called on Hakata Port, Fukuoka Port, and we sort of saw that and went, that's interesting. First of all, I was like, why? But this is like pre the big inbound boom. It was but just at the very beginnings. Anyways, we just saw an opportunity as well. First, we saw a need. These people are arriving here. They don't have anything, information of the city. What do they need? First thing they need is a map. So we made this that map, if you pull it out, it's quite large. It's A1 size in both sides. And it's just a very good map that shows the whole city in two different scales in one view. And of course, it's got ads around it's the old ad around the content formula. So we started in 2009, and that went really well. We printed, it's like a yearly run of 300,000 copies of that per year. And that's been a good business for us. And I guess it's served a niche here in Fukuoka.
Yeah, that's great. Um, it's hard sometimes to distribute, but you had the support of local authorities and government for making the map,
Mhm.
I assume, because it was at airports and everywhere, right?
Well, we didn't have any direct support.
Mm-hmm.
They were happy that they had it. They didn't have to pay and do it themselves. Like usually, a city will have the city office will put out the city map, and they had sort of something that was A4 and it would have like different parts of Fukuoka, Nakasu, Kawabata, and Hakata, Tenjin. They had it set. Well, it just wasn't good what they had. And I said once we looked at it and said, well, that's not so good. We can do that better and on a business basis and make it pay for itself. So in the end, we're doing the city's job for them, and yeah, so that's sort of how that really happened. We don't have any support from local government in terms of funding. Never have. Sometimes we do get ads they want to promote something, and we of course do that on a business basis, but no regular support from local government ever.
Wow. You've also done work with NHK World and CNN on travel.
Well, yeah, that's sort of, just on the side, that's something that they've asked me to, again, like over so many years of reporting on Fukuoka every month, every day. We put up contents on social media and so forth. Is myself and our staff, we know Fukuoka and Kyushu fairly well, so we get asked sometimes to help introduce it to foreigners outside of the area, and that's where we get some jobs on for TV or other international media. If the New York Times comes to Fukuoka, some of the writers often will contact us, and we help them find the spots they're looking for, that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's great. No, it's wonderful when you have people respecting the local knowledge. Sometimes, when you're there for a long time, you've been doing the local information for a long time, but still they hire someone from Tokyo to just fly in for the day and do it. That's so
Yeah,
that's so
yeah.
devastating.
Mm. I agree.
That
Yeah.
happens to us too. Let's talk
Mm.
about the website. The
Sure.
website is beautiful. You've got main PC version, also mobile versions, of course.
Sure. Hmm.
What kind of
Yeah.
information do you like to put on the website?
Well, that's well, one thing for one, on the basic level, everything that goes in the magazine, of course, is going to be on the web, but we have web-only contents. So the magazine, especially over the years, as internet has become, more dominant and so forth. And well, I mean, if you, like the cost of paper and so forth, the cost of printing as a magazine, and also the monthly cycle is limiting. So on the web, we can do so much more. So we might have a very short article in the magazine, but online we'd have a longer article with many photos or maybe even videos and contents and things like that. So that's what that's about. And so the website, yeah, okay, right, sorry. The news, one unique feature about that is we're pretty good about this for many years now. I don't even know how long. I'm gonna guess almost forever. We do something called just Fukuoka local news, and every day we post at least one, if not two or three, summaries of uh, news that has appeared in other Japanese media, but in Japanese. So what we do for the benefit of our non-kanji or people who cannot read kanji or source information unknown is first we scan and find, oh, that looks interesting. Foreigners might be interested in that. And what we do is we summarize that and post that English summary along with official links and a graphic on our website as local news summaries. And that's also available as a weekly mail magazine. We have a mail magazine newsletter. If you go to our website and click newsletter, you can sign up for that and keep up with Fukuoka just once a week, or come to our website and see those posts.
Yeah, I've got your homepage photos of the different articles now. Also, the mail magazine is quite easy to sign up for if you go to the website and you just
Mm,
fill in your email, and then you can get a nice newsletter to your email inbox,
right.
giving you updates on latest articles and news. The news articles, of course, are really important right now during COVID. We found
Mm,
that as well. There was so little information in English,
mm,
and during this kind of uneasy, panicky time for a lot
mm.
of residents, I think that's such a great service to offer the community. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing our best on that. Even if it's not happy news, but people need to know what the situation is. And if you don't speak Japanese fluently, even if you do, it's hard to catch everything. So we've been doing, I think to date, we've been tagging the news stories that we've done since Corona began, and we're probably close to 300 news updates on just Corona topic. And like I say, every day, like this morning, we've posted already this morning, try and get it up as soon as possible. And we hope, again, our concept for sharing information is a couple things. One is, well, to be timely. It doesn't help to have information that's too old and of course, accuracy. Being on point and so forth. Reliability and usefulness. So this is things that whenever we do anything in Fukuoka, now the other thing is entertaining, I suppose, but we're mostly about being trying to be useful to our readers. So
Yeah, that's
that
great.
ties up a lot.
Well, in terms of the news, that's so useful for people.
Mhm.
Also, in terms of introducing culture, like you have this beautiful culture series, like about
Oh, yeah.
Kyushu University's Ito campus,
Right. Yeah.
different points of culture that people might not find in
Sure.
other areas. Can you introduce that?
Sure. It's called Fukuoka Topics, and that's been running for a long time. It's also, you see those illustrations? The same woman has been illustrating that for, I don't know when we started that column. I'm going to guess at least 15, 18 years at least. And she does those beautiful illustrations only for us for that column that we've been running for so long. And yeah, it's just called Fukuoka Topics, or I think before it's Hakata Culture, but that type. Yeah, we have a few very long running series, and yeah, that's stuff that it isn't news. It isn't doesn't fall into what I just talked about before, the useful category, but it's stuff to know. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
great.
So we our readers, we assume they're different ages, different nationalities, here for different reasons, but they're all interested in Fukuoka and Kyushu, and they're all starved for information in English. So we try to, like a newspaper, we try to have something for everybody, is another one of our concepts in publishing.
That's great. Of course, because my focus is sustainability, I found your
Mm.
news report on Kitakyushu City proposing the biomass biodegradable plastic bags. That's really exciting news.
Yes, yeah, we have lots of news like that, for sure. I can't keep it all straight in my
No,
mind, but
no,
yeah,
that's
we
fine.
but anything that again, you see that the reason why we do, some people go, well, you could just read the Japan Times, you could, or whatever, mind things like that, but they don't actually report on things in Kyushu that often, really. I guess they have their quotas, or they have their limits of what they can do, and there's just so much. I mean, Kyushu, the population of Kyushu is well, it's over 10 million, and that's larger than some European countries, and the GDP as well. It's quite a sizable economy and area. It could be a country. Could be considered a country, yet aside for us, there is no dedicated English language news
Right.
media
Yeah.
for it. So this is a niche that we've been filling. And so we have people accessing our website, we know for sure, from overseas, just so to keep up on Fukuoka. And we have some news in there too. You might wonder, the average person that they're here in Fukuoka teaching English, why do they need to know about, some biotech in operation in Kitakyushu? Well, you never know who's interested in what.
Yeah.
And a hint that you read in the news here, go, well, my family's business is in that. Maybe they can get involved in that. Or, my philosophy is the more news, the more information, the wider the scope, the better for that.
Definitely. I also am showing right now Saga Prefecture encouraging sidewalk dining. This is a big
Mm,
deal during coronavirus
mm,
to encourage
mm.
people to use restaurants and eateries and bars again. You also have the Good Up Fukuoka, so it's a kind of a discount coupon thing to
Yep.
support local eateries. And then about redeveloping pedestrian areas to make
Mm,
it more comfortable. I think this is all stuff people would not find in other news
no,
outlets. Yeah, it's very
no,
useful.
no. Yeah, we do tend to, we don't do like crime, like, whatever it's something, a fire happened, or, in Fukuoka last night, whatever. We do skew to the sort of positive things. There's no, why not? If you're going to spend the time and energy to do something, there is so many good things happening that people don't know about. And then we also think of it as a way to encourage people. And what I want to sort of skew a little bit to here is something that we found success with early on in Fukuoka, is actually introducing local foreigners and what they're doing. Because if we find someone who's done something, either opened a bar or a restaurant or whatever it is that they're doing, we introduce them, it encourages other local foreigners. Hey, I can do that too, or I might try and do this, or so that's something we did early on in Fukuoka Now, and still do that, is try to support the local foreigners here, and share their activities, their successes, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I'm showing the people focused article on Black Lives Matter in Fukuoka right
Hmm.
now.
Yeah,
And then you also have a nice profile of a Canadian guy who's running a food truck.
right,
Yeah.
right. That's that kind of thing. It's a small business, but hey, someone else seeing that, and maybe they're from Sri Lanka, and they go, oh, I can open a little. How did he do it? And they see that, and then they open their shop or whatever. That's a good example.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And great stories, timely things which are relevant around the world, not just Fukuoka. But this is how Fukuoka has more appeal because of its foreign international residents, right? That it adds more of a global kind of relation between what's happening around the world and what's happening in Fukuoka. I think it's really well done. Great job.
Thanks. Thank you.
And of course, beautiful nature is part of the appeal of Fukuoka. So now I'm showing you've got a beach and fireflies.
Beach and fireflies.
So it's in your events maybe or seasonal activities.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's if you're looking at the guides, that's also very popular contents within our website. Is it could be like sunflower places to see sunflowers, or obviously cherry blossoms that season. We have more like firefly viewing guides. What do we have?
Fruit picking?
Scarecrows.
Oh, really?
Fruit picking. Yeah, even Japanese scarecrows are quite, unique, and they're quite. And then, well, where can you see them? Because if someone's in town and they're not going to see them in the city, but there are places that the scarecrow festivals, or so we have all kinds of guides, and they are, by access. We get a lot of access on our website because, well, again, it's timely, useful, entertaining as well too. It hits a lot of those points that people are looking for.
Yeah.
And people want to, they discover, they want to go a bit deeper, they want to go outside the city, and those guides really work.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about one of the features. The sunflowers is fantastic. We'll talk about that after. But let's talk about the kakigori article, because kakigori, of course, is usually vegan. You can get a vegetarian version with the condensed milk, but vegan is really hard for travelers and residents in Japan. So it's really nice that you have this big kakigori focus, because if you get the mochi, if you get the kakigori, it can be a nice vegan treat, so everybody can eat it.
Yeah. No, it's there's more and more vegetarian friendly, let's say. I don't know all the levels that are involved here, and we do try to introduce those places. We have found a really neat spot that's opened up recently in Fukuoka, so check back next week. Plant-based burgers. Anyways, you have to check the website, but
yeah, wonderful. Kakigori is a great way to cool off because it's so hot. You also, at the end of the article, I like how you recommend how you could do kakigori at home. Like you can buy it in the convenience store as well. So that's really cute.
Yeah. Well, we like to do something not just a straight up sort of introducing a shop, but again, like a little bit of a twist, or a little bit of something different. Yeah. Of course.
And the sunflowers. Oh my gosh, the sunflower locations are beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm showing pictures of your sunflowers article right now.
I had fun making. There's a video. I made that drone video a couple of years ago, and that's kind of fun too. But yeah, sunflowers, and despite all the heavy rains in Kyushu, apparently they're doing all right. So.
And that's one of the photos has Kuju Mountain behind it.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. As a photographer, you must enjoy going around Kyushu and taking all these photos.
Yes, I do. Again, that's my favorite part of the job, is actually taking photos. Yeah.
That's great.
Very much so.
In the information you sent me, you said it's nice to pitch adventure tourism around Fukuoka area. Do you want to introduce that, like supping?
Sure. Well, something that's came about before COVID-19 is our area in Kyushu, and specifically the Kyushu Tourism Promotion Association. They became interested in, they were also catching wind of concerns of over tourism, which I know you're quite aware of, and thinking, well, it isn't just the numbers of tourists, it's like how deep are they going into the Kyushu area, and the impact of them on the local communities and economies and so forth. So long story short is the local area has caught on to the idea of what's called adventure tourism or adventure travel. And this has already been going for a couple of years, or in the Hokkaido and Nagano areas, and as a Kyushu. So I've been asked to join them as sort of the non-Japanese perspective and local sort of information expert and travel expert here. So I'm doing some advising and consulting as they develop plans for strategy. So, anyways, what adventure tourism about you already know is it's getting people to take part in small number travel into things to do with nature, activities, things that are ecologically uh, sustainable and so forth, and things, activities or tours that involve some sort of a challenge and hopefully have some type of story to them. There's all kinds of qualities that are involved in coming up with type of travel, but it's so much better and well suited for Kyushu than the regular sort of mass travel that it's something I'm personally very happy to be a part of. If there's going to be tourism, let it be adventure tourism, what they're calling adventure tourism.
Yeah. And I think this concept has a lot of potential for post coronavirus
Oh
because
yeah,
it's getting people to spend longer and to invest
yes,
more time and make it higher quality instead of quick bucket list, check it off the
sure,
list travel, right?
sure. Yeah, well, when travel comes back, it's going to be more special to everybody too. And already, I mean, the market for the so-called adventure tourism tends to be the people who do that are Westerners, people from Western, Europe or North America, Australia, whatever, and they do travel on a longer, like 2, 3 weeks or so. And yeah, so yeah, that type of thing come COVID. I mean, a lot of the sensibilities of what's called adventure tourism will hopefully become attractive to Japanese themselves and other travelers from outside Japan as well coming here.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm showing a picture now of the SUP,
Oh, sup. Okay, yeah.
SUP, yeah,
Are you?
as
Okay,
well
cool. Yeah,
as horse riding on the
horse
beach,
riding.
SUP, which
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's actually in the horse ride. That's my wife, and I took that photo on the horse behind, and
okay.
that's actually very close to my background. That's very close to Kea. That's like 2 kilometers from there. That's where the sandy beach is. That's very close to where we live. But yeah, that's an example of you don't think of like horseback riding 30 minutes away from a big city like Fukuoka, do you? But this is the type of place that it is and the type of adventures or like things with animals and outdoors and things that you really can do in many parts of Kyushu. So yeah, the SUP though, that's a very interesting example. That's something that's Yanagawa is a town not too far, but an hour south of Fukuoka, which is famous for these canals. And typically, it's a very well-developed tourism sort of site there, in that they have the gondolas and boatmen punting, they call it, with the long sticks, and they go through miles and miles or kilometers of canals, and they sing songs and do things. But it's kind of a bit of a mass tourism, really. It's nice. It's nice, and it's really well done. It's quite good, but still, it's kind of. But I'm being a sup person, stand-up paddleboard person. I was looking at that for years. I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great to take a sup there? I wonder if you can, and did some inquiries, and apparently it's totally legal. There's no reason why you can't. And then my wife and I have done that a couple times now, very recently, and we turned that into an article for our magazine Fukuoka Now. And I think those are the photos you're looking at.
Yeah.
So beautiful. But that has a lot of qualities of adventure tourism. It involves using your body, right? You're not just sitting there. You're not being paddled around. You're doing it. You're in nature, of course. You're so far as communing with the locals is you see the locals in the other boats there. You're going by people. It's wonderful. It's something that I'd like to try and find some other spots in Kyushu where that could be done, and I'm sure there are.
Yeah, definitely. What is I mean, SUP is fantastic in Hiroshima as well because
Hmm.
we have so many rivers. We actually
Hmm.
have some sup rental and sup sales shops. You can
Hmm.
buy a sup board at a local Costco.
Hmm.
So I think in terms of applications across Japan,
Yeah.
definitely there's a lot of destinations that
Oh,
can do it. Um,
there's a lot of
right?
potential.
And if you have a blow up SUP board, you can take it pretty easily in your
Yeah.
car, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I don't know if the photos there, but we have those are inflatable. Those are our boards, and we have them in these. They're quite large backpacks, but they all fit in a backpack, and you can go anywhere. So this is something that I'm hoping to put together a sort of a bit of a guide to where you can do that in Kyushu, some of the
Wonderful.
killer spots. And there are some really nice, well, rivers, of course, but then the seaside area, Sasebo has this area with many tiny little islands, and Yakushima.
Mm-hmm.
There's and I haven't done, well, I have supped in Yakushima on a river, but apparently there's this one area where there's a waterfall that flows right into the ocean, like
Oh,
crashes right in there.
wow.
And apparently you can get, there is, again, you have to have an inflatable board, but there is some sort of road access to a place where you could launch and sup around this waterfall with coming into the ocean in Yakushima. How does
Wow.
that sound?
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
When I talked to Alana Bonzi, she's in Fujisawa up near Tokyo. She and
Mhm.
her husband, they do inflatable sailboats. So
Oh.
there might be applications for
Mm.
using those kind of mini dinghy type
Mhm.
inflatable sailboats as
Mm.
well, if it's sea and river and there's some
Sea River,
wind,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
awesome. There's a lot of potential there. Wonderful. Let's look a little bit at more at rural areas. A lot of the things that you recommend are outside the city.
Mhm.
So it looks like it's so colorful. There's nice little restaurants or pottery places or bakeries or hiking. So
Sure.
there's a lot of attraction just not too far outside of Fukuoka or the main cities.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's right. There is. There is. Yeah. Again, that's what we like to do is introduce those places. They're hard for foreigners to find, but if we have that information, that's what we do. Yeah, introduce it, and it's fun to do that as well too.
Yeah. It looks like
It's used to
in
do it.
this picture there's like totem poles.
Ah, is that in Itoshima? Maybe.
Is it?
Does it say something in Itoshima? Yeah, we have a little No,
Maybe.
totem poles. Are
Maybe.
they? I don't know which photo
Fresh
you're looking at.
fresh local vegetables. I see some Goya there. I'm having a Goya
Oh, yes, okay,
challenge
yes,
myself.
okay. That sort of page there, that's all Itoshima. That's the same
Okay.
area, the background of this photo here, higher up and where the mountains are. That's still Itoshima there, but I know what you're looking at. Yeah, that's our area here. And
And there's
yeah,
a
that
guy
place with the
eating.
udon, all those,
Uh-huh.
most of those vegetables are grown on their land.
Wonderful.
You'd love this place actually. It's a bit of a, I don't know if it's a co-op situation, but they're people, they're not from that area, but they've moved there, bought up some farmland involving the local farmers to sort of uh, sort of get it going again. And then they have some farm stays going on there. And I think their background is noodle making, and that's why they have the udon. But basically, the main thing they're doing there is growing vegetables, organic vegetables, and yeah, so there's a
That's
lot of that. And people are, I think, are really rediscovering, the what's important in life. Not just with COVID, but we've been seeing this in people have been moving to Fukuoka or Kyushu. It seems, as the population is declining in Japan overall, Fukuoka was one of the few cities, if not one of the very few cities, where there's actually a population growth. And that isn't so much that the birth rate here is so much going, is that we have people who are moving into this area from other parts of Japan for that lifestyle.
the quality of life
Mm,
and being able to work and then balance getting out into the
yeah,
countryside, enjoying
yeah.
fresh fruits and vegetables and the countryside views. Oh my goodness,
Mm,
the coastal views, the mountain views, you guys have it all.
yeah, we're lucky. Come visit.
I'm also showing, I think, a news article about onsen area, Futsu Kaiichi Onsen having Japan
Keiichi.
heritage status now.
Ah, yes, yes, yeah. I'm not that. I mean, that was just a news blurb for us. I don't know all the details on that, but yeah, there's been various parts of Fukuoka which have recently been recognized
Yeah.
by UNESCO and so forth. That's just one, just one. Yeah, there's.
And then this picture has fruit picking,
Mm,
bicycle rentals, and
mhm,
other areas to explore. So there's a
mm,
lot that you guys have on your website. I would definitely send people there to check out all the information. A lot of it people can navigate on their own once they get the information off your website. What do you
mhm.
think?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess a bit of a self-criticism is we have an awful lot of information on the website, and we do try to put in all the pertinent details and so forth, but we're not a tour company. We don't package things. So there's a lot of information. If you have to spend some time and do some searching, but whatever the information's on there should be accurate and well selected. We don't have any sort of like tours per se. We're not in that business of doing that. Although it would be nice. Maybe we need some AI or something to help us with that.
Yeah. Well, we talked to Kyushu Journeys, a travel company
Yes.
right
Yeah.
there
I've heard of
in
them. Yeah.
Fukuoka. So they do
Well,
help
that's
people get more of the details, and there
good
are
to know.
resources around. One of
Mm.
the photos I see here is Itoshima Adventure. You have zip lining.
Yeah. That's also very close to us. That's yeah, it's part of actually it's based here in Fukuoka, but I think they're all over the country, and I think it's something that was done with some French technology or based from France, I believe. But yeah, and there's new ones opening as well too. But that's cool. Zip lining. There's a yeah.
And then there's some dyeing workshops.
That is something that's called what we've done a lot of reports on kurume kasari.
Mm-hmm.
Kurume kasari, and kasari, as you know, is a textile weaving. Um, well, refers to that sort of a technique of that. And Kurume is a town just south of Fukuoka, not too far, and it's where this type of textile was developed about 100 years ago. And it's a yeah, it's a unfortunately it's sort of because it's so labor intensive, it's been we say regulated, or it's become something that is expensive. The handmade, the hand dyed, and the hand woven is over, but they have sort of machine made as well too. But this is something that we take people. We've actually helped the local government promote that to for tours by small group tours, and people can actually join workshops and actually do some of the indigo dyeing. It's all natural indigo dyeing, and then they can experience some of the weaving or visit that. So that type of introducing the crafts and artisan activities and businesses or workshops in Fukuoka, Kyushu is also something we love to do, and there's so much of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I just last year I tried an
Mhm.
Indigo workshop for myself the first time. I can't believe I've never done it before.
Mm.
But I was really impressed how there's two types, right? One you can
Mm.
use the fresh leaves and have a light color, and then another one is the fermented type, which is the stronger
Yes.
color. And it,
Yeah.
it looks like the fermented type here.
Fermented type.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's right. It'd be that kind. Yeah. It looks
Yeah.
black, but still, it's how many times you dip the cotton in there. It's very labor intensive, and then they beat it out. We have some reports on our website, quite detailed ones. But that's interesting, isn't it?
That looks wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's appealing not only to inbound tourists, but also to maybe international residents. Sometimes even Japanese people who live there haven't done it
Sure.
before, right?
That's right. Well, we have, as I said, our magazine started in English and Japanese, and we always, in the beginning, we had many more Japanese readers, even though it was primarily, we would say, like by foreigners for foreigners and authentic, international or English media. But we always had more Japanese readers. And one thing was, as I said earlier in this talk, that if Fukuoka didn't have that many foreign residents 22 years ago, for one, or visitors, that was one factor. The other thing too is what you were just saying, Taiwan, is that the Japanese are fascinated in what are we interested in, and they haven't studied a lot of the aspects of their own culture as well either, but they see it through our eyes or through our media, and they go, that is
Yeah.
interesting. Let me check that out.
Well,
So
that's so
it's a gateway.
typical of any tourism location worldwide. Like I grew up in Hawaii, and
Mm.
I just recently, on a few years ago, visit back to Hawaii. Did I try volunteering at a taro farm, at a taro potato Hawaiian style
Yeah.
farm? And this is something that it seems like open to tourists, but not locals usually, right? And I think Japan,
Mm-mm.
it's any tourism destination has that danger that you're only
Mm.
allowing things that, of course, locals also want to try, you know?
Sure.
So it's
Sure.
it's nice to open it up to everybody. Yeah, join us.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
I
Yeah.
love that. Let's see, what was I going to talk about? Oh, on the website, do you think the classifieds, forget
Yeah.
Hiroshima, the classifieds has been such a great community thing
Hmm. Hmm.
that
That's
we
right.
we hear great stories, as I'm sure you guys do. Oh, I found my job, I found my apartment, I found my furniture,
Yeah.
I found my girlfriend on the
Yes, I was going to add that, or boyfriend, or
or
whatever. We hear
boyfriend
that.
or partner.
Yeah.
So the
Yes.
fantastic stories through the classifieds. Have you found that as well?
Exactly same experience. It's the actual volume of messages actually has gone down recently a bit, and I think that has to do with social media as people are able to go,
Right.
maybe faster,
Yeah.
more directly, because we screen everything. Everything
Right.
that's on there is, I mean, it has to sort of look legit. So there's very little noise. The messages are up there are legit ones. So there isn't as much volume as there was years ago, but still, yeah, we hear the same. People are very grateful for it. If they need to have the sayonara sale, they're moving out or looking for something. And jobs, we allow posting for foreign language jobs free. We don't charge the people for that. So if people are looking for a job in Fukuoka, especially in the language related businesses or whatever, it's a great place to look for that. And so yeah, we have that. And our Facebook, our Facebook is basically we just publish. It's not open to people to publish there, but that's a great source. Our Facebook page is updated every day with again those news or event posts, and that's where a lot of our traffic actually comes. A lot of people follow us on Facebook, and then they click into to the website. So yeah.
Yeah. We also find a great feeder from Facebook. That's where most people are, right?
Right.
I saw recently on your YouTube channel, you have some great videos on your YouTube channel as well.
Hmm.
You interviewed some of the baseball players. The baseball
Yeah.
season has started
Yeah.
again.
That's right. Some of the ball players, the pitchers recently, and yeah, YouTube. We haven't put much emphasis in video, but we're starting to. We just actually published one or two last couple weeks of us, doing some tours and so forth. But yeah, we something we need to do more of video, and looking forward to doing more of. Yeah,
Yeah, great.
but we have
Well,
some. Yeah, check.
yeah, I was listening to your interview with one of the baseball players and how the baseball stadium has opened up again. They have less people, but same in Hiroshima. We have started our baseball games again.
Mm.
Um, we've got 8 more minutes.
Hmm.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. We've talked about a lot of stuff.
Right.
Is there anything we haven't touched on yet that you'd like to talk about?
Let's see.
Or the future? Anything you'd like to do coming up, which hasn't quite been done yet?
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Well, as I say, we do want to get more into using video as a medium. That's one thing we want to do. We should be doing more of. I think so far as the future goes, is right now, as you know, a lot of us are sort of on hold because our main business up until recently or the contents is being geared towards inbound tourism. So we're sort of is in the meantime what we're doing is we're concentrating more on publishing news updates and things for beyond COVID. But yeah, I'm not. I think lifestyle is a key word that more people are. I mean, people were concerned about before, and that's something we've been proud of in this area that offers a good lifestyle, quality of life, as a contents, as themes, as contents. That's something that we're going to start purposely developing contents
Mm-hmm.
for people how to live well.
Yeah,
Mm.
and it seems like Fukuoka has a very good collaborative business culture. Like you have shared workspaces, you have a lot of creativity. Compared to other small cities like Hiroshima, you guys have a much more kind of international business connection, I think, in Fukuoka
Mhm.
for many
Well,
reasons, I think.
yeah. Well, one thing that we definitely have is a very cooperative local government. I have to, give my kudos to where when it works is our the mayor of Fukuoka City is in the end coming at the end of his second term. He's been in a while now, quite young. I think he was under 40 when he became the mayor, and he's very forward-thinking, young, sharp, um, leader. And so things like the startup, I'm one of the taglines for Fukuoka is, startup city. And that's, a lot of and promotion, but support has gone into that and some gains, but it really has made a difference. And Fukuoka is seen as a place where people can, start something up, start up a new business, a new life, and so forth. So that's that's good, yeah. But that's thanks to local government. Local government here can be very cooperative, especially to international residents. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're thinking of coming to Fukuoka, definitely check that out. Mm.
Yeah. So it seems like you have a good city center, business, collaborative, networking, a lot of
Hmm.
active groups and good community, but also you have the appeal of the nearby islands and the short trips to nature. So you
Mm.
have quite a good hub as a big city, big
Hmm.
medium-sized city, but
Hmm.
also really good nature focus, easy to
Mm.
escape.
Mm.
Is
Yeah.
is that how you
Well, I
describe
don't know
it?
if it's a proper parallel example, but I mean, sometimes I try to explain to people it's sort of like, West Coast America. It could be well, it could be a Vancouver. If it was Canada, Fukuoka would be that. But Vancouver's become so big and so modern and congested and maybe not so livable in some ways. But the Vancouver area is very beautiful. Fukuoka, I think, within Japan, sort of has a unique position that it's, as you say, it's a hub of Kyushu. Um, ちょうどいいね, just right, and enough business that people can have careers and do things meaningful, and in this day and age, where so much is online, you don't have to be in Tokyo. Um, you don't have to be anywhere, but it's still to have a reasonable size city, in a city that has the galleries and the museums and all the cultural assets. Fukuoka has a sumo, tournament. Not every city in Japan has. We have a dome stadium. We have a champion baseball team. we have so many things that it is a kabuki theater. What else is there? There's all kinds of things. It's an interesting city, again, from a business perspective. If we have time to talk about this, is that it's often used as a test market. I don't know if you're aware of this, but for example, Costco. I think you mentioned Costco. The very first Costco in Japan was opened in Fukuoka, and one of the reasons is that it's a reasonable size market city, but that also costs are low. So buying the land, testing things. A lot of businesses, especially foreign business, they actually open first in Fukuoka to test the market. The cost, again, not just the land, but buying advertising. If you want to like buy blanket all the subways and ads, it's possible to do that in Fukuoka, but not in Tokyo. So a lot of places have opened first here in Fukuoka. So yeah, I think the catch phrase of Fukuoka startup city is appropriate in many ways.
Yeah, that's great. I'm always impressed by the creativity, and even recently, a lot of the sustainability focused projects are
Mm-hmm.
coming out of Fukuoka. So there's a lot of positive, young, proactive energy, I think, as well.
Sure. A lot of universities, I mean, per capita higher education in this area is also will skew very high. So that's one thing as well too. Yeah, there's just a lot of, I mean, asoka. Here's one thing for you. Fukuoka and the kanji. Well, it basically means, lucky, happy hill. It means lucky hill. I mean, it's just a lucky, happy place. So I think the former governor, he would always make this sort of like oyaji gag, old man's joke with everybody. He says, "Welcome to Happy Hills. You know, come to Fukuoka and you will be happy." And well, can't argue with it.
That's good.
It's been good for me, and it's been good for a lot of other people.
Yeah.
So
Well, you've
uh,
you've been there a long time. Plus, I think now with the Shinkansen network and also
mhm.
Kyushu train network, by public transport, it's not that difficult to get around as well as driving,
Oh,
right?
sure, sure. No, it's just
And
I
some
think it's
some old classic trains. I've got a picture
yes.
here. You've got some classic, beautiful
Yeah, well,
trains.
they have, I guess they're called tourist trains. JR Kyushu is really up on that, and they have the famous Seven Stars, which is a super high-end sleeper train. They have that, but beyond that, they have things of sweets trains. They have all these sort of thematic trains that run around Kyushu, and that is a great way to, get instead of the Shinkansen. The Shinkansen is like you're in a tube, it's like you're in a subway. Conversely, there's actually an SL, a steam locomotive on Hitoyoshi in Kumamoto. I don't know what's happened after these heavy rains, but that runs in the summertime, and I've done that before, and it's beautiful. Yeah, the local trains, great way to see Kyushu.
Yeah, great. Well, that's our hour, and I think we've covered
Oh,
a lot that you guys do to promote Kyushu and to help businesses in Fukuoka. So thank you for everything that you're doing, and keep up the good work, Nick.
thank you, Joy. It was my pleasure. It's nice to be on the show. Appreciate it
Yeah,
very much, and
wonderful.
congratulations on it too. It's a great project
Thank you
you're
so
doing.
much. It's a great way to network with good people like you
For
all over
sure.
Japan. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Okay.
And tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., we have our next one. So please join us again. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Take care.